Hi, this is Joy Robertson. As many of you know, I love food. I love finding new restaurants. I love trying new dishes. And most of all, I love talking to the many great restaurateurs and entrepreneurs we have here in the Ozarks and beyond. I love hearing their stories, and that's what this podcast is all about, learning more about them and their journey. So join me as we savor the Ozarks. This episode is brought to you by Arctic Food Equipment. Those of you who've been around Springfield for a while recognize a place called Ruthie's Bar on Commercial Street. It's been around a long time. It's moved several times. And Joe Pepe is the owner-operator now. And what was Ruthie's on C Street is now Ruthie's off C Street. And I want to hear all about Ruthie's, but first I want to learn about Joe. Joe, you came here in a roundabout sort of way from the East Coast. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I'm from New York, Long Island, and then I just met a girl in California, and then we went back to New York, and we decided to get married, and decided that we were going to be near her family, and then her family retired and moved back home, which is Galena, and that's how I ended up in Springfield.
Okay, and when you came by bartending naturally because of your dad, correct? And you guys lived in the Hamptons.
Yeah, my dad bartended in many places throughout my childhood and after, and I even bar-backed a little bit for him. It's just a fun environment. I mean, every interaction with each person is different, and that's what makes it enjoyable.
What sort of work did you do in the Hamptons? You had mentioned that maybe it was people think Hamptons, oh, fancy. And there's a lot of private parties and events that go on there, correct?
Yeah, we've done, from working the beach bars and the regular neighborhood bars to doing private parties. I've sat and stood behind people, and because from the Hampton Bays is technically the working class of the Hamptons, and we do all the work for the people in Southampton, East Hampton. We did valet parking. We did a lot of different fun things and learned a lot of cool trades. So,
speaking of cool trades, what did you do when you first came to Springfield? Do I understand construction?
No, I did construction in New York, and when I moved here, I decided that for $8 an hour, I wasn't going to go out and frame houses in the snow and stuff, and got a job at the $5 shop and then Walmart until I could find a bartending gig.
And your first bartending gig was?
Fox and the Hound was the first place that hired me.
And Fox and the Hound was located. It's not there anymore, correct?
Yeah, it doesn't exist anymore, but it was a neat little spot. It was on the Independence Road, near that Walmart, in front of that Walmart. And there's some real good people that I worked with. I met a lot of good friends, core group of people that ended up introducing me to all the other places I ended up working at.
So you've worked at several places around town, but eventually you want to have your own place, right? So what led you to getting your own spot?
In the long run, it was, I'd done tons of work for tons of people. I had a small opportunity to be a partner in mixology, and that didn't work out because there was too many partners. And
that was a bar?
Yeah, it was a bar on South Campbell and Battlefield behind what used to be, well, it's now Popeyes, but it used to be Sonic. I think it was Gravy's before that. And then, I just wanted to do my own thing because after working at Kai for 7 years and working at Touch and working at all those cool places, I learned so many things, but I just wanted a neighborhood bar. And when I think it was 2018, I started talking to people about doing something, and we almost went for a distillery. And then Samantha, the owner of Stepchild's, called me up and said, "Hey, I know you're looking to do something. You want to buy a bar real cheap?" And next thing you know, I was shopping Ruthie's.
And so Ruthie's began where Pizza House currently is. Then it moved further east. But when you took it over, it was at its farthest east and most recent location actually on C Street, correct? Tell people where that is located.
Yeah, it was 504 East Commercial, which still, for some reason, if you Google this address, it comes up over there. It's right next to Ace Hardware. It used to be the Frisco Tap Room before that. There's a lot of history in that building. The bar was beautiful. The clientele was just, something that I always liked, is just an eclectic group of people just want to have a good time. And that's what I want as an environment for people.
It was a cool bar. I remember it being really pretty. I think there was one of the, C Street has a ton of events all year long, and there was some kind of an event, and there were opportunities to visit all the different businesses, and I went in and to have whatever the drink of the day was. And I said, my goodness, this place is cool, you know? And then I sat there at the bar and you mixed me some kind of a craft cocktail. And that was kind of my little fun go-to place when I wanted to go have a drink. How long were you there?
I bought it in 2018, I think it was. But I was there for a 5-year lease. And then the landlord decided that I was too loud for an Airbnb upstairs, which he had remodeled the whole time I was there. So then I just started shopping for a new location. And then it took a while.
It did take a while. And you were somewhere else before you ended up at Ruthie's off C Street, 66 Kicks, correct?
Yeah, I went first, actually, Mike Evans, who ran the Cellar and Bruco, he was nice enough to reach out and keep me busy. And I'd worked about 5 or 6 bars downtown, and he reached out to me and said, what are you doing right now? I was like, nothing at all. And he's like, you want some shifts? So I got to work at Bruco and experience that for 4 months, which was kind of cool. And then I came across a gentleman that owned 66 Kicks and lost a partner. And we negotiated kind of a sweat equity, kind of just hey, give me a percent of your business. I'll keep tips and we'll see if we can build your business into something. And I lucked out because 4 months later it sold and then I reopened Ruthie's.
I knew when Ruthie's closed on C Street, it was kind of abrupt. I think it was abrupt because you put something on social media that said, was it New Year's Eve or some day? I don't know. Some day is your last day. And everybody was floored. And we thought, well, what's going to happen? And it took a while to get here, but it was kind of abrupt when you closed.
Yeah, it was 28 days notice. Kind of a shock to my family and everything. I mean, it was my income and I was paying off all the COVID debt at that time. So at least I got most of that cleared before I stopped losing my income. But, in general, I mean, it's their choice, their building. So I just said, okay.
So you must have been looking for some place to go. And how did you wind up on Campbell?
I actually had been shopping this place before that with a different partner because we wanted the full kitchen to see what I could do with the kitchen. The thing is that they had 1 more year on the lease and they weren't willing to give up. And then when I heard I was losing my lease on the other building, I came here and tried to buy them out to take the building over right away. But they said they just had obligations to people and wanted to finish off. And I respect that. I mean, they had been doing it way longer than me and real good people. So their lease was up in September, and that's when I was finally able to grab it.
Describe Ruthie's.
I always like to describe it as a punk rock dive bar, but that's just my mentality. But we are just an eclectic. Good people want to have a good time and anybody can come and nobody should be judged for anything. And you could either have a PBR and a well shot for $5 or I can make you a $20, old fashioned if you really want the best whiskey we got. It just kind of depends on who you are and what you want to do. As long as you're enjoying yourself and not bothering anybody, that's what we are.
Okay, let's go down the mixology path here first because you are truly a mixologist. You know what you're doing behind the bar. And when you make a craft cocktail, you make a craft cocktail. So you can get about anything you want here. What is your specialty? Where did you learn all that?
Well, I mean, that's the thing of being behind a bar for so many years. I mean, I've worked, like I said, Touch Restaurant, Kai, and I had known nothing about wine, and that was like 15 years into my bartending career, and all of a sudden I learned about all these things about wine. And then, I had never made an egg white cocktail till 25 years into bartending, and then all of a sudden I realized how good they are. And I learned it. So it's like every once in a while I'll just go down a rabbit hole of a cocktail. And sometimes I'm a little ahead of the time. I was barrel aging cocktails at Kai before anybody else was, and people were kind of creeped out by it. And then later on when I decided, this is pointless, people started doing it and everybody was buying it. I made my friend who does blacksmithing make a lagerhead because I had researched a drink called the rum flip and I wanted to try it. And it's just, sugar, overproof rum, and a hearty like Scotch ale. And you take a lagerhead, which is a metal rod with a ball on the end, and you heat it up till it's glowing. And then you dunk it in, and it caramelizes the sugar and heats the drink up, and it all froths up on the top. And it was cool as heck. I was doing that. I even did it at Ocean's End when I helped retrain their bar staff at one point. And then I think it was 2 years later on... I forget what magazine, it was one of the bar magazines. It was like, the newest trend is lagerheads. And I was like, I was 2 years ahead of my time. So.
Do you do that now?
I still have the lager head and I still have a torch to heat it up. It takes very long, so I try not to do it when I'm busy because then the next person wants one and it takes forever to keep heating up. The old school way was they left it in a fireplace, and so they would just pull it from the fireplace and pull it out. I've always tried the concept. Every once in a while I'll go into the idea of do I get like a big toaster oven and just keep it in there, like just some kind of way to keep them hot. I don't know. I haven't figured that out.
Well, like you said, you go down the rabbit hole every now and again and you find ways to make things work, or you say, I'll make you that, but not right now because the place is packed. You mentioned the egg white cocktails. Explain to people what you mean by that, because like a real honest to God whiskey sour, typically for one, is made with an egg white.
Yeah, that's when I first took Ruthie's over. I still had a lot of the high-end cocktails in my head. And when people would order whiskey sour, I'm like, do you want a real whiskey sour or do you want a bar whiskey? And they wouldn't know the difference. And so I would make them and all of a sudden they'd be excited about it because it just adds a velvetyness to the cocktail and it just kind of gives it a good feel. It really does. If you do it right, it doesn't really change the taste at all. It just gives a better mouthfeel and smoothness to it.
Yeah, and you take that egg white and it shakes up and then it kind of gives that layer, correct?
Yeah, it gives a good froth to it. Then that's how gin fizzes were created is, you put the club soda in and it raises up the egg white that's frothy on top, and you can raise it out of the glass if you make it stiff enough. And it's kind of cool that the drink actually comes out of the glass.
Wow. I love a good whiskey sour. I always have. What is your favorite cocktail right now? Are you going down a rabbit hole of something now that you're kind of obsessed with?
I'm actually working on some more classics. I've been working on a sidecar mostly, and I want to kind of do it with Grand Marnier and kind of see if I can just change it a little bit. So the next thing I really want to work on is making my own bitters just out of curiosity. Now that I have a full kitchen, I can sit there and tamper with more simple syrups, herbs, and stuff like that and make some more interesting side notes to cocktails.
What craft cocktails are on your all-the-time menu right now? What can you do on a busy night?
Well, that's a trick question. I mean, the reason why I don't make a menu is because I don't want to have to make a drink.
Okay.
I enjoy making drinks, and if you're required to make them, it takes the joy out of the drink, and to me, it takes that out of the flavor of the drink, because I'm just like, here I am making this again. And so if we come up with a drink, we tell people that are there that night, and we just kind of roll it out. I mean, we can make old fashions, we can make Manhattans, we can make, I keep forgetting to order absinthe, so I want to keep making Sazeracs, but, right now we're a little slim inventory because I'm still building up, but I have a list of craft beverages and things that I want to acquire so I can, because we can make a Vesper, and I like making Vespers, but to have to make them all the time, it's just not as fun.
Okay, I see. I remember at the former place on C Street, there was a poster, a big sign on the wall that had a list of cocktails, and I remember going in there with my good friend Ted Keller, Ted and Danielle, and my husband and I, and we had to ponder that menu for a while, because I thought we might have this and then we might try that, but it was impressive. It wasn't something I expected to see there, so I guess I see what you mean. So you mentioned the kitchen, and at the other place on C Street, you had what I think was a very tiny kitchen, yet you made it work, but you didn't cook all the time. My recollection is on social media, it would say, whatever Joe wants to cook. What's the special tonight? Whatever Joe wants to cook. How did that evolve?
Well, I mean, the landlord and I had discussed putting a kitchen in there. The kitchen went in the worst location ever. It would never be able to be expanded or anything because you couldn't put a hood in there. You couldn't get fryers in there. So I just worked with crock pots, air fryers, and one induction motor. And so it was very limited that when I tried to open the kitchen at first, I did 7 items and it was just chaos and too much. So then I slimmed it down to, okay, we're going to do tamale Tuesdays. We're going to do bacon taco Thursdays. And I still do those here. And then what Joe wants to make Wednesday was, I want to learn how to make something because I've worked bars for years. I've never worked the kitchen. So it was like, hey, I want pierogies. How do I make pierogies? And then at 2:00 in the afternoon, my kitchen would be a train wreck, and I'd be going, I guess the kitchen's closed tonight. And then by 4:00, I'd be putting a plate on the counter to a customer going, pierogies, here we go. And it was very frustrating but fascinating.
I do remember being in there and thinking, they have food. Let's get food. And it was always really good. But I do remember peeking through the window also. There was a little window you could see in on your way back to the bathroom. And I remember thinking, there's not a lot of room in there. So there was an induction burner, a crock pot, and
Two crock pots and one air
two crock pots and an air fryer.
For over 30 years, Arctic Food Equipment has proudly served the backbone of America's restaurant industry, right here in the heart of Springfield, Missouri. We're not just a supply house, we're your partner. From kitchens large to small, we build value-based relationships, always exceeding expectations with quality products and expert support. Trusted, reliable, American-made values. That's Arctic Food Equipment. Together, we help build the taste of our nation. Stop by or call today, Arctic Food Equipment. We're working hard so your kitchen can too. The tools you trust, the partner you deserve.
Were you really looking for a place that had a kitchen?
Yes. I had somebody approach me after I opened Ruthie's Kitchen saying, if you're doing this with that, I'd like to see what you can do with a full kitchen. And now that I have a full kitchen and I'm also trying to bartend, it seems like an awful lot, and we're getting there. I mean, we're hammering out. We've detailed enough of the menu that is basic bar food with a slight elevation. Because I still do the sweet Thai chili pulled pork. I used to sell 8 pounds of that every weekend at the old Ruthie's. So I kept that as a mainstay. I mean, it has wasabi ranch coleslaw and sweet Thai chili pulled pork, and I cooked the pulled pork in a Instapot. So like everybody's, how do you get the bark on that? I'm like, I don't barbecue it. I just figured out how to make it like that some other way.
Instapots do a lot of great things. My husband knows ours better than me, but those are handy things to have around. So what all is on your current menu?
Well, we have the basic burger, and everybody seems to love them. We keep them at a reasonable blue-collar price, and that's what I want is a blue-collar bar. I mean, I want, it to be affordable for everybody to come and relax and get away from the world. And then we do quesadillas I do a chicken sandwich and a pork sandwich, and then we use the same meat for quesadillas, and then we do loaded fries, loaded nachos, and it's like either a barbecue pork or a sweet Thai chili pulled pork, or a slow-cooked chicken thighs that we shred up. We slow-cook it in salsa, cayenne, garlic, and then we shred them up, and then we'll use it for the quesadilla, we'll use it for a Mexican chicken sandwich, and then we'll also do it, and actually it's the Mexican-American chicken sandwich because it's definitely Americanized. And we'll also do nachos with a chili on it, or, with a chicken and pork. So we kept it all kind of core 3-ingredient basis. And now I'm getting ready to start doing mac and cheese because I have a convection oven. And I've never really messed with one before until last Wednesday when I did 2 racks of ribs on What Joe Wants to Make Wednesday. And they came out amazing. So now it's like, oh, now I have to start playing with this. So I'm going to start working on mac and cheese bowls and a little more like chicken enchiladas based with the chicken because I had made my own enchiladas at the old Ruthie's with the sauce. And so I remade the sauce and did a test run. And so those will go to the menu. It's like we're just trying to give varieties of things that we have, expanding but not too far.
These are handcrafted items that you're talking about. Did I see jalapeno poppers on your menu?
Well, the appetizers are frozen right now. They're pre-bought.
Well, you would almost think that it would just be easier to do that and people would be really happy with it. So I admire your really going into making all of the fresh meat dishes to make the other offerings.
Yeah, well, and also the blue collar mentality. Homemade is better. Being a host forever in bars, from managers to bartending, you want to give everybody something good. You don't want to give them, you want them to feel comfortable. And so sometimes I get a little overzealous on What Joe Wants to Make Wednesday, and I might lose some alcohol sales because they sit there with a full belly and hold their belly and say that's the best meal I've had in a while. And I like that. That makes me smile. It's not the best business model, but.
Do you do food every night?
Yes, we do food every night, and then we do the features only on the 3 nights: the Tuesday tamales, the What Joe Wants to Make Wednesday, which is now Wild Card Wednesday because we added DJ Platinum into the mix, and he spins from anything from classic hip hop, R&B, soul, and even played some Rage Against the Machine the other day. So he just kind of mixes it all together. So we just decided to call it Wild Card Wednesday instead.
What was in this building, Ruthie's off C Street? We are sitting on Campbell, just a little bit south of C Street. What was in here before?
Well, from what I heard, originally it was a Singer building. I don't know if it's a sewing machine or whatever. But then it became Jalen's is the first bar history of the building. And Jalen's is the gentleman that I'm renting from now. And Then it became Fusions, which was a drag bar. And that's how I have the ties to the drag brunches I do every month now, is because they all used to come down and drink at Ruthie's. And so I knew them all and became friends with them. And when I rented this building, first people I called was like, would you like to do a once a month drag brunch? And they're all like, yes. So
How often do you do that? I love a good drag brunch.
yeah, we do it first Sunday of every month. I'm about to start doing brunches every Sunday. And I kind of like breakfast foods, so I'm kind of down with tinkering with it now. My son in the kitchen has been amazing, and he looks at me sometimes like I'm crazy, and then he tries, he goes, all right. But he definitely puts his effort forward, and he's made some things that I'm looked at him, I'm like, wow, that's pretty good. And, for a 20-year-old to be passionate about something, I'll take it. He likes cooking, he likes doing it, and I enjoy working with him. But so the brunches, we'll be doing a drag brunch the first Sunday of every month. Then we're going to do a punk brunch with punk music, cartoons, and then we're going to do a burlesque brunch. That might take a little longer to get going. And then if there's a fourth Sunday of the month, depending on the calendar, we'll fill it in with karaoke brunches.
Okay, so you've got a full calendar, and it's just so much fun. I was in here at the time of this particular recording. I was in here, it was a week ago today. Jake Simpson and Four Jacks were here, and our friends got here before we did, and she texted me, she said, it is packed. And it was so much fun. It was so much fun. This is a whole new level for Ruthie's.
Oh, I mean, it's double the occupancy. It's a lot wider of a building. I mean, it doesn't seem to have as much history or that classic feel, which I liked about that other spot. But it still feels homey. It still feels like me and my staff, we all kind of fit in. And, Jake from Four Jacks, he's a regular customer of mine. That's how they ended up playing here. And it's the relationships I've built over the years sometimes really make me lucky to have what happens. And the community is what you need. So.
Well, and that's a nice stage, and you've got a dance floor. I mean, at the other place, the other place was fun, and a spontaneous dance might pop up there, but there wasn't really room for it. This is different.
Oh, yeah, this is Ruthie's was, shoulder to shoulder packed, kind of a, hey, we're having a party kind of a thing. Whereas this, you can find your space if you want it, or you can get in the middle of everybody. And having a dance floor has definitely changed my Saturday nights with karaoke. When, a 15 top comes in for a birthday party, they're all up going and dance in front of their friends singing. It just changes the environment. And that's fun.
Do you have music or some kind of activity all the time, or do you have some nights when it's just like, take a breath, make some drinks, and just turn on some music?
Well, I'm still learning, booking all the bands on a regular basis, so there are nights like I think Thursday I had nothing going on. But in general, we do an open mic, we do DJ Platinum, we do karaoke Thursday through Sunday, but we've been doing early shows with bands for no cover. Now, of course, Four Jacks or any of the other bigger bands that want to play here, we negotiate some kind of cover, and then if somebody's my regular, I'm not going to make them pay a cover. I always believe that you should have the entertainment to increase your sales, not to, charge more money kind of a thing. Like the karaoke, I've never charged a cover for. I don't see the point in doing it. I'm paying for the KJ, but that's generating more money for me. So I try to do that, and I try to support as much local music as I can. It just depends on what it is, but we will book anything once and try it. I got a guy from Pennsylvania the first week I opened that hit me up, and I was like, I don't know. And I was like, you know what? I was like, I have this date open if you want it. And he was like, sure, I'm driving through, blah, blah, blah. I know some people in Springfield, they recommended your place. And I'm like, the fact that somebody told him in Pennsylvania, you should go to Ruthie's if you're in Springfield. I was like, you know what, dude, come on and play. And he was so talented, literally had 25 people in here clapping and singing with him. Then he went over to the piano and started playing on the piano. And we were all just like, I told him anytime he was driving through Springfield to come and play. So, you never know what you're going to get when people hit you up.
So if you're hearing this out somewhere and you are thinking you'd like to play some music, you might give Joe a call at Ruthie's and see what day might be open, because how fun is that, though? But do you find that there are first-timers now that are coming in that had never been to Ruthie's before, Ruthie's on C Street? Now they're coming to Ruthie's off C Street. You have to see people here that have why have I missed this for so long?
Yeah, actually, it's kind of good that, it's still growing. But I mean, when I first bought Ruthie's, the clientele was different than what I have now. I still have some of the regulars, but in general, as people age and their life changes, I mean, routines change. And so now I have, on a Saturday night, I have a group of like 25-year-olds that I've ID'd like the first 4 times they came in. But they bring like 12 or 15 people, each sing a song and then just leave again. And I had never had that at the old Ruthie's, really, in that environment. It was more of an older crowd. So, I mean, we're developing new generations of customers, and I'm excited about that. And I'm also maintaining the customers that I've grew over the last 5 years. So.
Well, it's just a great place. It's a lot of fun. Anything coming up new besides maybe a new cocktail or two? Or is there anything you're trying to sort of, I know you're working on the kitchen and juggling all that, but you've got a handful of employees here. What's coming up new? Anything?
Well, I mean, the main thing right now is we're focusing on getting those brunches set in stone. The punk brunch is the first one. It should happen next month. The karaoke brunch is easy. It's just we're resetting the menu because we had too big of a menu. And now we're going to slim it down so ticket times don't take as long. And then at that point, like I said, I've been shopping through some craft liquor companies, smaller companies, and finding some really interesting stuff like some coconut tequila and some other things that we want to kind of play with. And so at that point, I'm going to one of my bartenders is definitely green. Indigo has done a great job. Started work for me at 66 Kicks. So literally looking at maybe 6 months bartending. Was a regular for Ruthie's, and I just thought it was a good fit to just transition to behind the bar. Nils has been bartending for a long time, but he did the Shot Shack and 417 Tap House and stuff like that. So some classic cocktails he's still learning. So what I'm going to do is see what they're interested in learning, and that's the direction my bar is going to go, because if they believe in it, they'll support it.
If they believe in it, they'll do it well. If they're driven to do it. How many people work here?
Right now I have 1 bartender / cook, 2 bartenders, me, and my son.
Okay, so your son is here. By the way, so your son is 20. You also have a very young daughter, sweet little Ina, the cutest thing. She's how old?
She's almost 3, and probably the most amazing thing that's happened to me.
She is a wonderful, beautiful little girl, I will say. So you've got you have got to appreciate those team members that you have, those employees that you have, that you can lean on to really help make this place work. Not just that, of course, the customers, but your people that you can call in and say, help me figure this out, or can you come in here and work for me? You've made some really good friendships. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the key to any good neighborhood bar or any job I've ever worked at. If everybody supports each other, it makes all the difference. And if you believe in it and you trust in it, it just changes the way it feels. And that's kind of like the welcomingness of Ruthie's. I mean, I had a lot of things in my personal life go really far south in December. And Nils every day would be like, do you need anything from me? And like, I had just met the guy, I worked with him for 3 months, and he literally came anytime I had a chance to do something. He came and covered the bar. He's like, go take care of that. And I mean, to have that ability and that trust between all of us, it's very nice to have, and it's a community, and that's what I want to make with the customers as well, it's a community. Are you closed one day a week at least? Right now we're closed on Mondays for sure. We started 7 days a week open, and I wasn't here Sunday or Monday, but it just, I don't know if it's C Street or if it's in general, but it's just not very conducive to keep the lights on, pay somebody, and do any kind of activity. We've tried multiple times at the old location to do Sundays and Mondays, and they just never panned out. So now we're switching to brunches on Sundays, so we all have the night off, and then we'll be closed Sunday night and all day Monday. Well, you need a little time to yourself. Everybody does. But, I mean, you're a dad, and you've got stuff going on. And this, breaking news, this is not your only gig. Yeah, no, I mean, I guess it's because I'm from New York and you had to work 3 jobs to pay your bills. But I've worked for the Savoy before I bought Ruthie's. And when I bought Ruthie's, they were like, are you still going to work for us? And they're family to me. I mean, they love my child. We hang out. We do things together. They're just family. And once again, that makes all the difference. I mean, and working weddings, everybody's in a good mood. That's a big difference than working in a dive bar at 7 o'clock at night for somebody that's just drinking, trying to forget their problems. It's everybody's there to have a good time. And you're talking about Ann and Andy Walls at the Savoy. I love them too. They're fantastic people. They've really helped C Street. I mean, everybody up and down the street believes in it and loves it. But typically, I think what they do over there, they do dance classes, dance lessons, but yes, weddings, events, and every now and again they will have some kind of a dance party where the bar in the back is open. But a lot of people wouldn't even know that was there. But you run that thing.
Yeah, no, I mean, they organize everything, and I just go in there and make sure the bar is covered and train anybody new. And if I'm not training somebody, then that's me there. But, they've done a sock hop, and we do like adult milkshakes. In the Thriller party we used to have there after hours, I'd always be there for them. They've been there for me, and they're just wonderful people.
My daughter, my youngest, and I have done Thriller on C Street for like 10, 11 years now. And that was another thing we always enjoyed. A bunch of friends from Arkansas came up last year to go to Thriller, and we all piled into Ruthie's after it was over. So you've got a lot going on. So I'm glad that you have a little time to yourself. What do you do in your spare time? Do you have any hobbies?
Right now, it's enjoying every minute I got with my child. I have her Saturday mornings, Sunday day, all day Monday. And then Tuesday mornings, and usually we hit she's fascinated right now with the aquarium. So we always, like, if I drive past Bass Pro, she just chants octopus, and I have to stop. So now it's just a weekly visit. Luckily, the year pass was a good deal. And then otherwise, we're just, trying to teach her the best. And I do my exercise in the morning. I do like a light yoga, and she wants to do it with me. And watching her try to do it, at least she's getting balance and coordination from it. But I don't know. I'm just realizing what's important some points, and spending time with my daughter is the most important right now. So.
Good for you. It sounds like you're really finding your balance. We are currently sitting in a back room to Ruthie's off C Street. And this is a nice space back here, but you're not quite sure what you're going to do with this one yet, correct?
Well, there's many ideas and many concepts. It kind of could be like a luncheonette, and have the front doors open, and keep it separate from the bar during the day. There's also, I've had parties here and they station up here, and not many, but if I made it public and tried to make it more of a party room, I could. And then I'm also toying with the idea of making it a game room.
Oh, a game room. And what kind of games are we talking?
We're talking like shuffleboard, air hockey, foosball, a couple of dart boards, just another area, because we have two pool tables on one side that makes it seem like it's separate from then we have what I call the Ruthie's area, which is the seating, the more everybody's congested and having a good time. We have our smoking patio, and then we have this room. And if I do the games, then it would be more of a passive income and less payroll. And so that's like the more inviting idea. But at the same time, if I wanted to really do lunches, which I have a whole menu set in my brain, I could. But it's just the amount of time and hours that it takes. So,
how popular is the patio?
The smoke patio does pretty well for us, considering it's covered. That's the big sell on it compared to anybody else's patios. We have a covered one. But of course, we have a lot of drinkers and a lot of smokers. So.
Okay. But you don't have to smoke to go sit out on the patio.
No.
I remember when we came to see Jake and the Four Jacks, the parking lot was full. We parked elsewhere, which was fine. There was plenty of places to find to park. But my friend said the front door is not the front door. Go in the side. So if you're listening, you just refer to the front door, and there is a front door. But the current entrance is over on the north side of the building.
Yeah, I kind of, it's hard to keep an eye on two doors. And especially being a bar, and if we get busy, I wanted to maintain one entrance. We can leave, it's an emergency exit, blah, blah, blah. But everybody that parks in the parking lot, the entrance is right there in the parking lot to me, and it made sense to use that as our main entrance. We are getting better signage to detail it better, because I do have a lot of people still pulling on the front door, but yeah, well, they'll get used to it. And then to me, that's also part of being a punk dive bar. It's just like, don't know, it's not your normal thing. That's all.
Well, figure it out. Once you have it figured out, you'll remember where to go. When I showed up today, I remembered what door to go into. But this is just a great spot. Now, you had mentioned you kind of had a dream of opening a bar in, what was it, New York, California, Florida, I forget where all. Are you home now?
Oh, I've considered this home for a long time, and I've done like with the Greater Bartenders Association that we did the charity events that made a difference to me. Like we were building something with the community, and that's But I always thought it would be cool to have a bar in New York, a bar in Florida, a bar in California, and then during weather times, just travel around and make sure your bar is doing okay. That's like a rich person's dream, and my life's not necessarily about money. It's more about community and people. So this is where I'm at.
And yeah, we have an airport, and you can always take a drive to these places and spend time if you want and check out other bars in the process. Well, Joe Pepe, I appreciate you taking time to talk to me on Savor the Ozarks. Ruthie's off C Street is a great little spot, and I would encourage anybody who hasn't been here to check it out. And you can get some pretty good grub in the process. Joe, thank you.
Thank you.
Be sure to go to AroundTheOzarks.com to sign up for our daily newsletter where you can get every episode of Savor the Ozarks, plus all our other podcasts, events, and contests straight to your inbox. And what are your favorite dishes in the 417? Do you have any restaurants you'd like me to visit? Email me at joy@AroundTheOzarks.com.